The Diseased Machine is the debut full-length album from London, England-based death metal band Mutagenic Host, a band that is heavily influenced by metallic hardcore in the way they've developed their sound, although they are much more of a death metal band than one might expect by a lot of the comparisons that I'll make in this review. Definitely, there is pure old school death metal in their intent. It is very much a new school way of seeing it. Call it neo death metal or death metal slash hardcore, if you will. There is a strong component of from a generation that certainly grew up with bands like Hatebreed and whatnot as part of the mainstream, and that shows in their riffcraft. I think this is a band that is pretty well reinforced in terms of the quality of its death metal movements as well as its understanding of pit-based hardcore chunking or riffs that work in larger arenas but still appeal to the general timeline of metallic hardcore and the way that it had developed by the late 90s and early 2000s, preceding metalcore taking over in a much stronger way. So this is not overtly simple in its design, and they do a good job of differentiating themselves from a lot of their peers in that sense. We'll listen to a song here and get a sense for that with some of the riffs they hit you with, and then I'll talk about what sets this album apart and what is a little bit average about it. So as we go along, it doesn't feel like this band was entirely ready for a full-length album in the sense that side A is extremely strong. It's got all of their most surprising and interruptive moments. This is a common thing in death metal albums of the newer age, is they put all their best ideas up front. They're just looking to get in the door and get you listening. And then the second half of the album is a little bit of a drag. It just it slows down. It has fewer ideas to insert. It does center too much around the metallic hardcore riffcraft, and it becomes repetitive. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in the case of this band. The record sounds amazing. They are inventive in most cases, but the quality kind of levels out there towards the end. And the only thing that keeps me interested here is the post-apocalyptic sci-fi, just the dystopian sense that it gives in the way that the lyrics evolve. Now, I don't know what the new wave of British death metal means today, other than hardcore influenced bands showing up and playing something that is of a decent quality. But I was much appreciative of this band having riffs to back that up and having pretty solid, memorable songs behind all of it. I feel like I had a strong connection with the album in terms of just enjoying it. It's an enjoyable record. It's got riff after riff, a lot of energy put into it, and the theme is pretty interesting. I like that the album art is a little bit different, but also very classic in what it presents, and I think that's kind of what I like about this album in general, is there's a strong design behind it, and it's not all up to my taste necessarily, but I still had a great time with it. So take that as you will. It is a high recommendation for me. I think this is one of the more interesting and essential death metal records of January, and something that is a good way to start off the year with an album that does something a little bit different from what everyone is doing, but it's kind of what everyone else is doing at the same time. If you'd like more of my thoughts, go ahead and read my written review and check this album. It released on January 3rd on most formats, but I think the CD is it came out on the 20th.